Hey guys, it's Allie with Allie Answers. I hope that you're having a fantastic day. If you're new to my channel, welcome. And if you've been here before, welcome back. If you have not already, please hit the subscribe and like button so that more people will see this video and we can do more good. I recently had a friend call me and talk to me about her mother. Her mother lives in an independent living, but she started to slip. She is forgetting doctor's appointments, and she generally is not a trustworthy historian right now. My friend knows that she needs more help, but she's just not sure how to make the transition. Now, the first thing I asked was, is there an assisted living at her independent living community? Because a lot of times I've worked at communities where there are independent living, then assisted living, and then there's a memory care section that's separate. And so a lot of times you'll find that all together. In this case, my friend said yes, but her mother is adamant that she cannot move to the assisted living. She's not moving anywhere. She is refusing. Now, this is something that I've actually dealt with many times before. Now, I do not mean any kind of disrespect by saying this, but when we're talking about the capabilities of someone and their cognitive abilities, a lot of times it can be compared to ages of when we were children and what we were able to handle as a child. So I am not being disrespectful at all, but I'm going to tell you that I always thought of my communities as basically a big school. So elementary school through high school. So the younger crowd really is more like the folks who are in memory care, and independent living was more like the high school kids. What we're talking about though is a negative growth process. With seniors, you're generally going to see a decline, which means instead of going from kindergarten to 12th grade, they're going 12th grade backwards, right? So there's a lot of pride issue there. You think about people that you know that are in high school and how proud they are and how insecure they are and how they don't want anyone to know about any of their faults and flaws. I mean, we're all like that, right? But it's especially hard during high school or middle school years. But when her mother said, I cannot move to the assisted living in this building, I don't want to do that, you have to think about it from that perspective. It's kind of an insult to say, okay, you know, you've now deteriorated, you need to move. Now, some people will not have a problem with that, but obviously some people will, including my friend's mom. So there are two ways to deal with that, in my opinion and in my history. So the first way is if they have a friend who is also in a decline, then what you can do is, if you're friends with the other family or everyone's kind of connected, you can arrange for both folks to move at the same time. So what I would do a lot of times if someone was in a friend group, if I could, I would organize a move that really, like, 2 or 3 of the group would move at the same time or close to the same time. And so there are a lot of ways that you can spin that. One of the things that I would say is, you know, Miss Rosie, you are doing great, but as you know, your friend Caroline is kind of forgetful. And so she's going to be moving over to the assisted living side, and we're going to be making sure that she has everything she needs. And there happens to be an apartment right across the hall from her. You guys could be closer and you'll see each other more. And now you'll get all your meals or whatever other things that she might need. That gives her some dignity. If it's a knock to her self-esteem, then that's going to give her a way to save face and to be able to tell people, oh, I'm just moving to help take care of my friend. Okay, fine. If that's what makes her happy, it's not a bad thing. So the other way to handle this situation, unfortunately, sometimes is to look at different communities. This is going to depend on your client or loved one or patient, how entrenched they are with their friends, and also how big is their pride? How much is their dignity an issue? There were cases that I saw where we actually had to move someone to a whole different community because that way their friends didn't know that they had moved to a place where they were getting more help and more assistance, and it was actually more palatable for the resident to do that. But as I told my friend, you don't really want to use that as an excuse to move someone. So what you do is you look at the other things. What are the other positive aspects of moving, and you use that to explain why you're moving. So in my friend's case, she has a lot of communities that are way closer to her than where her mother is living now. So she could say to her mom, Mom, I found a place that's way closer to us and it's going to be so much more convenient. We'll be able to see you more often and I want you to come see it. The other way to do it is more personal and more personalized. So this works with if you're moving within the same community or outside the community. You look and you find what are the positive aspects. Okay, so Mom, you were always complaining that you were too far from the dining room. I found a suite, I found an apartment that is right beside the dining room. It is the shortest walk. It's so easy. Or Mom, you wanted a pool. This new community has a pool and I found you a location where you'll be able to see the pool from your balcony. Or you can use their complaints and turn them around. Mom, you've been complaining that they don't have breakfast until 8 o'clock every morning and this other place has breakfast starting at 7. It's a little diabolical, but don't tell me that your parents didn't do it to you when you were the teenager. We want to ensure that everyone has the care that they need. And sometimes people are going to resist the care that they need just because of pride, because of ego, because they don't want their friends to know. It's complicated, and it's more complicated moving from independent living to assisted living than it is from assisted living to memory care. When it comes to time for memory care, a lot of times really all you have to do is have that friend move around the same time. You can absolutely use the physical structure of the building to explain why you did it. I had a lovely lady that was moved over a week. Her daughter took her to get her nails done and have lunch, and we helped the family orchestrate the move, get everything moved to memory care. The room was very, very similar. The only difference was a wall that separated the bedroom and living room space. So when she came back to her room, she was amazed and she said, I've always wanted to have this wall removed. This is great. Now it's so much more open. And she would tell everyone who visited, look at that, they moved my wall. She was so happy. And really, she had moved from assisted living where she was getting a lot of support and medication management, but truly she needed more eyes on, and being in memory care, she was going to have that. So these tips and tricks can also work when you're talking about moving someone from home to independent living or to assisted living. I always tell people, refer to it as their apartment, never a room, never a nursing home. Remember, a nursing home is not an assisted living. It's not a personal care. It's not a retirement home. A nursing home is what that generation is very afraid of. If you've ever been in a nursing home, you know why. The stereotype of a nursing home is that it smells bad, that the care is bad, and you know what? A lot of times that's true. It is. It can be, depending on which one we're talking about, but it can be true. So never, never, never refer to it as a nursing home. You are moving your loved one to an apartment where it is closer to XYZ, that the meals are more XYZ, that they're going to be closer to friends that they care about, that they're going to be closer to you, that they're going to be able to participate in events or activities that they have missed out on because they were in this other place. We always find the positive and explain the positive. So going back to the original discussion that we are saying is like seniors living in independent living, assisted living, and memory care is kind of the same thing or very similar emotionally for them as kindergarten to senior year, that I want you to consider the fact if you took a 6th grader, let's say, and put them at the table with a senior, a 12th grade senior, and they sat there together with a group of 12th graders, that 6th grader is going to be extremely uncomfortable, extremely anxious, probably completely clamp down, be quiet, and not interact because they don't want to say the wrong thing. That is what happens in senior living when they are in the wrong location. Guys, if your loved one is starting to withdraw from activities, they're not hanging out with their friends, they're not speaking a lot anymore when they're in groups, it's probably because they need to move to the next level of care or be around people who have declined more. This is also true if you have someone at home who is withdrawing from activities. A lot of times, a little bit of dementia will make them decide that they need to stay away from everybody, stop participating, they don't want to say the wrong thing. that pride thing gets in the way. So if you can make sure that they are in the right environment, that they match up with the people around them mentally, not physically, because let's be real, you're always going to have someone who's very well off physically, and that person maybe is not in great shape mentally, or you're going to have someone who's very sharp mentally who's in a wheelchair. I mean, that's just how it works. So you're not going to find an exact match, but if you can find people who are mentally at about the same place, if they're all acting like 14-year-olds, then they're going to get along better and you're going to be happier too. It's important to make sure that our loved ones have the very best care, and making sure that their level of care is appropriate is of utmost importance, even though it's hard. You can do it. I believe in you. For more tips on moving to assisted living, memory care, or a personal care home, please check below. I will link some other videos. And meanwhile, thank you so much for sticking with me till the end. I love you guys. See you later. Bye-bye.